Johnny Talk.
Hey all, it's Johnny Com here, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about a game that I've been absolutely obsessed with, Stellar Blade. Now you may have seen on my channel recently in the community tab, I made a post talking about how I want to make videos just discussing games that I've played recently while they're still fresh on my mind, so this is my first attempt at that. I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know what you think. So I picked up Stellar Blade on launch. I actually played the demo before that came out, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the combat. I was kind of shocked to find that it actually plays a little bit more like a Souls game than it does a Bayonetta. But that wasn't a bad thing to me. I actually really enjoyed the combat in this game. But the thing that I want to talk about and get right out of the way is the controversy that surrounded this game with its rather voluptuous lead character and a stunning cast of other very attractive female characters. It's really easy for anybody who wants to go at this game and say that it's so over-sexualized and it's painting a bad image and women can never look like that, but this game is so far from trying to be something like Bayonetta. Bayonetta is more racy than this. You know, there are no crazy, like, under-the-crotch camera angles in this. I mean, there's a couple of, like, you know, maybe gratuitous cleavage shots depending on the outfit you decide to put your Eve character in. But this game takes itself actually very seriously, which is something that really sets it apart from Bayonetta, where Bayonetta is kind of this ridiculous, over-the-top, you know, she's sexy and badass story. Stellar Blade actually takes itself seriously, setting up this post-apocalyptic kind of like biblical story. The character just happens to be very attractive. Which kind of makes sense because, you know, if humans or anybody is going to make a robot, they're probably going to make it in the perfect, sexy image and ogle at it, among other things. Ugh. So the character of Eve is basically, as far as we know, she's a human coming to save Earth from these Natiba things that are attacking, and they're basically these aliens that can kind of take over anything they want to, and then they become evil and fight you. But the story actually kind of delves into something a little bit darker and a little bit cooler that I don't want to spoil. The writing's not great, so it's not like it's a super deep, you know, story that's going to really grip you. Most of the time when I was playing this game, I was just loving that it was a video game. And I'm actually going to make a video about what I call video games sometime. But what I love about this game is, like, every moment I'm playing it, it's just absolute ridiculous action. It's fast, but it feels methodical. You know, you have to take your time. The parry system is really important. Dodging is really important, because more of your basic attacks, they don't really do too much. What you want to do is parry and block and dodge to build up your burst and your beta gauges. And you have burst and beta moves that you fill up by dodging, parrying, and then you can use these super powerful, like, combo attacks and stuff to just destroy your enemies. It's a ton of fun. It's one of my favorite combat systems that I have encountered probably in the last 5 years. Definitely one of the only games in recent memory that immediately addicted me, just purely with its gameplay. Not with its world, not with its characters, but with its gameplay. The combat is so good that I wanted to keep playing the game, so I was looking for other things to do, which is why I spent 117 hours in this game collecting everything on multiple playthroughs. I think I'm on New Game Plus 6 now. So I've played this game a lot. I really enjoy it. What else can I say? This is one of the first games in probably 3 generations. As far back as I can think, the PS2 was the last generation to do this. There's so much content, so many collectibles, so many costumes, accessories, items you can find to power up your character, and it's all already in the game. I didn't have to pay extra for it. I didn't have to buy DLC to get the new costume. It was just in the game. And they released content later on that added more stuff to the game. And I really hope that can come back, because this absolutely just blew my mind and made me want to keep playing. Even after I platinumed the game on 2 playthroughs, again, like I said, there was still more crap for me to collect, so I just kept playing the game. And I didn't even look up guides, because I didn't want to know what I had missed until I got to the point where I wasn't finding a lot of stuff anymore. Then I went back to a guide, looked for the stuff that I found. I thought I had everything, and then it turns out I found out a couple days ago I was missing one more item that would actually require me to do 2 more playthroughs, because there's 2 versions of it, and you can only get 1 version on each playthrough. So I have to play through it again. I did go back and get it already, but I have to play through it again just to, you know, get this item, and I want to play it again. That's the thing. I'm craving more Stellar Blade. I'm craving more outfits, more content. I can't wait for the Nier DLC. You absolutely got to play Stellar Blade. It's just a ton of fun. The action combat in it is unlike anything I've played. It's like the best mix of like Demon Souls with like Bayonetta combat, while also having its own unique feel with this parry system, kind of like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance a little bit, but a lot more specific. You really have to get good at the combat in this game for it to feel good. Going through that first tutorial type kind of level at the start is really difficult, but it's not actually a hard game. You're just not used to the way the parry system works. Once you figure out and it clicks, that parry system and that blocking and dodge system is what's going to save your life 95% of the time in this game. Once you kind of click that in, you realize the game's actually not hard. But yes, it does come off as like Dark Souls, Demon Souls difficulty in that first Eidos 7 level. It's very difficult. It's partly because you don't have any skills and you have nothing to power you up, so you're very weak. On your second playthrough, on New Game Plus, when you come back and you understand how the game works, even though you have all these power-ups to make it a little bit easier to survive, you immediately realize, oh, I struggled here a lot when I started, but it's not because the game's hard, and it's not because I have more stuff now that I'm doing better. It's because I know the mechanics, and that is an awesome, awesome thing about this game. I absolutely loved every second of Stellar Blade. I would go as far as to say that right now, it's probably my #1 PlayStation 5 exclusive. I was not expecting to go back to this game after it launched. You know, I played it at launch and I lost interest, and then when I came back, I was like, oh, I've lost my skills. I need to come back to this so I can really dedicate time to it. So I didn't expect to come back to it and love it so much. So Stellar Blade, for me, if I had to rate it on a scale of 10, I'd give it a 9. The reason I'd take some points off is because, you know, the writing and the story is not very good. I can see what they were trying to do. It has a lot of potential. And they can certainly fix that issue in a sequel or even in a DLC, but it's just not very well told. It's not very well executed. The writing is pretty poor. I would also give some criticism to the side characters. Eve, the character you play as, she looks really cool. She has tons of awesome outfits, both badass, sexy, cute, you know, whatever. There's tons of outfits. She's really cool. And I think all of the characters should look like her. You know, they should all have the same general look. But instead we have Adam, who looks a little bit more like a Ken doll. We have Lily, who looks like she kind of belongs more in, like, I don't know, the latest Tales of game. You know, a little bit more anime. Whereas Eve looks kind of like she's in the middle. She's kind of anime, kind of human. So just a little bit of art direction missteps there. It's not a huge deal. Again, people in real life look different too, so it's not like it's impossible. It's just something that I picked at. But what I really don't like is how all of the NPCs in the game are all either really generic looking or too specific looking. Like, and I think I watched Susie the Spear Hunter's video where she said this, and I totally agree. It was the first thing that went through my head too. There's a guy that's like the guardian of the main hero leader named Oracle. I think his name is just Man. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I think it's MANN or something like that. But he's like a samurai cyborg, and he immediately looks like he just should be in Cyberpunk. And it's the first thing that I thought too. I was like, did they just rip him out of Cyberpunk? Because he looks like one of the first enemies you encounter in Cyberpunk 2077. So it's just, the character designs are all over the place. But that being said, there's some really cool stories in this game. The overall story has a lot of potential. They need to really explore it and flesh it out and do better with writing it and delivering it in a sequel. Some of the side stories are actually some of my favorite things in this game. Even though the side quests are typically just your very generic fetch quest, there are some cool stories in there. There's one with this character named Enya, who's like a robot who's, you know, malfunctioning. She can't really communicate, so you have to go find her parts, and there's kind of this little romance thing in there with the guy trying to fix her. It's actually really cool. There's a lot of little things like that, but they need to flesh it out more, because I could see where they were going with that. They were kind of trying to go for like a Ghost in the Shell, what is humanity type, you know, story, and they got close, but they failed with actually executing it and delivering what they were trying to say, what they were trying to make the player feel. So overall, I really love Stellar Blade. I'm still playing it. I'm thinking about doing a stream of it at some point, just to, you know, let you guys see why I love it so much. And yeah, Stellar Blade on the PlayStation 5. absolutely my favorite exclusive so far. This game got way too much hate for the controversy just because the character is sexy. Personally, that's one of my favorite things in video games, is when you have a badass female character who looks like, you know, the typical Mary Sue that they're gonna try to deliver you, and then instead she's actually the biggest badass in the universe. And that's what's going on here. Eve is an awesome fighter, a really cool character. She's not like Bayonetta where she's playing up the sexy. Eve actually takes herself seriously. She just happens to look really good while doing it, you know? She's a badass, and she's a robot made to be like the perfect human looking thing here. So I think that it actually makes sense, and she's a cool character. She's a little bit bland, but there are some funny moments in there where they kind of play up that, like, oh, is she human? Is she robot? Was she created? She was created, but she's still human. Just like all this kind of weird stuff that they make you ask yourself. But it's funny because there are points where even though she's supposed to be human, they kind of like, they put these like points in where it's like, oh, right, you haven't been to Earth. You wouldn't know what that is. And so she's like, what? What are you talking about? It's kind of funny, but it's not hammed up or delivered like, oh, she's dumb. It's just like, oh, right. You haven't been to Earth, where it's a hellscape apocalyptic wasteland. You've been living up on this space station and everything's perfect there. So just, there's a lot of cool stuff they can do. I think they kind of failed on the execution of the story a little bit, but it doesn't matter because the gameplay is just so damn fun and there's so much to do. You can just keep playing the game over and over again and collecting more and more. It's a ton of fun. Video games, what can I say? I love them. And yeah, I hope that maybe this convinced you to give Stellar Blade a shot. Just make sure you really give it an honest go. Don't write it off just because of the super dumb, is it woke, is it not woke controversy. Nobody should even care about that. You should play a game and see if you like it. And for me, Stellar Blade definitely delivered on great gameplay. The controversy exists for no reason other than somebody was mad that a character was more attractive than them. And that's really all that I can say about that, you know? Like, it's a fantastic game, and I hate that that's gonna be kind of its legacy to a lot of people. Oh, the game with the sexy character, that's the only reason it sold. Like, no. It's a great action game. If you like action games, you gotta play Stellar Blade. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next time.